course, if you listen to the governor and some of the folks who agree with his steadfast strategy, he says on Twitter this recently, he said, in case you missed it, Illinois needs meaningful reforms to create jobs and grow the economy. Illinois, the budget I think he was handed last time was, well in the hole to begin with. Someone retweeted back at him and commented and said, this person said she helps people get jobs every day, but with no Illinois budget she can't help. And then she went on to use the hashtag no budget, no jobs. There's this kind of ideological battle going on. I mean, some people might say some of the services that are provided by people in your arena would be better off not having government in that role, and we should be stepping up with our nonprofits. Are we in the middle of a retooling of just the way things happen in Illinois, and it's just going to be painful?
So many of the cuts have been made around programs that are typically referred to as prevention-based programs. And that's one way to look at them, to prevent issues from occurring. But another lens to look at them is their preparation programs, preparing people to be equipped for their education and for the workforce. And that's one of the things that I don't think is being focused on, is how we're talking about what's not being cut, or rather what's not being maintained. One of the things I looked at is when you talk about a fundamental duty of our elected officials, I had to go to the Constitution of the state of Illinois. And in the preamble, one of the things that they are mandated to do is provide opportunity for the fullest development of the individual of the states. And all of the programs that are being cut would have fulfilled this core belief and this core value that enacts us as a state. And so there is a reframing that needs to happen, but also an understanding of how much we are going to be impacted if we are not preparing the future of the society. Among the vulnerable populations are our children. And we, frankly, don't have the tool to measure the depth of impact that is on them now and for the days to come. The trauma that is coming from the fact that their parents who may need medical prescriptions for mental illness is not getting it, and they're living with someone who may have bipolar or schizophrenia. I can give numerous examples like that, but we need to have people focus on these programs as a means of preparing our future.
I think when you look at the fact that most of the social service agencies, whether it's Lutheran Family, Leslie Bates, Children's Home and Aid, we've been a partner with the state for 30, 40 years. And, I think most people would say that the private sector really does a better job than our government in providing services. We do it cheaper, we're more efficient, and we provide a higher quality of services. I think people would argue that in any service area that you work in. We've been a partner with the state. We've raised millions of dollars to try to provide the highest quality of services. And we feel like, the state's just thrown us out. We've been a partner all these years, and they've just said all that doesn't mean anything. Well, the state needs to be a good partner. They need to pay. I know right now, the Neighborhood House, we're a part of a lawsuit that we've just filed with 80 of the largest agencies in Illinois called Pay Now Illinois. The sad thing about it is all of us have contracts for all these services that we've talked about. We have signed contracts with the state of Illinois, and they have not lived up to those contracts.
So you've provided services they haven't paid you
for.
Right.
So we've really been the state's bank. We've raised our money. All of our agencies have taken lines of credits out. We've lived up to our part of the contract and continued to provide services to the people who we know, if they didn't have services, would probably die. And yet the state has refused to pay us. And so we just 2 weeks ago filed this lawsuit in Chicago called Pay Now Illinois. And we hope that that's going to have an immediate impact in getting the agencies paid. We've already seen some movement with a lot more talk about trying to pass a budget both for 216 and 217. So, our job is to be advocates. Our job isn't to figure out the politics of this and say the governor's right or the Democrats or the Republicans right. Our job is to be the advocate for the poorest and most vulnerable people in our community, and that's what we're trying to do. But we're calling on the governor and all the legislators, to get a budget passed. That's their job.